What's up, everybody? The time has come. Trinity Booktuber Fauci has arrived on scene. This is not turning into a booktuber channel, but this will be my first book video, and let's see if I ever make another one again after this. Today I'm going to be talking about the 20 books that I've read so far this year. I'm doing pretty well. My goal for the year is 25 because last year was 24. So I was like, let me do one more. I think I exceeded my goal last year. And I'm going to exceed my goal this year, hopefully. The year is still pretty young, so I'm sure I will. I'm gonna hop right into this, and I'm going to try and keep... Oh my gosh. Please don't look at my nails this whole video because one of them is painted. And this one is not painted, so we have to ignore that. Okay. Had to get that out of the way. I'm going to try and talk about these as quickly as possible because there are 20 books, and I don't want this video to be an hour long, / I don't want to have 2 hours worth of footage to edit, so... let's just jump right in. First book, nonfiction, The Supermajority. I started this, I think, in November last year. This one took me a really long time to get through. It's really dense. It literally goes through the entire history of the Supreme Court. But I really enjoyed this. It was super educational. I will say it made me feel sick. I did feel ill. I did feel a lot of despair reading this book, but as I'll say time and time again, actually I don't know why I'm acting like I invented this, but knowledge is power. So it's good to read stuff like this that challenges the mind. As I said, it was very dense. I feel like at some point I will have to reread this because I certainly didn't absorb all of the information on the first go around, but that's okay. Next book, The Idiot. I think we all recognize this cover. It's very popular. I was so excited to read this book. I hated it. It wasn't good. I didn't like this book literally at all. I feel like I can understand what people are getting out of this because I guess they probably relate to the character is what I would imagine why people love this book so much. I guess I need to tell you guys what this book is about. Basically, this girl's in college. It's 1995. She meets this older guy in her class. Older, he's like a year or two older than her. I don't know. They go to Budapest. Oh, they go to 2 separate places, but they're like helping in the local area, like exchange program type stuff. I don't even know what she's doing there, but like really there's no plot to this book. If you're in no plot, just vibes, maybe you'll like it. I don't really think I am, though I will say there are books that are no plot, just vibes that I do enjoy. But this one, I don't relate to the character at all. She's just like obsessed with this guy and he's not really reciprocating it. So like that whole plot, I'm like, what are we doing? Why are you so obsessed with this man? Like, I'm not relating to it. I just like, for Trinity, I don't see the value in this book at all. It was so boring and I never wanted to pick it up. Not to be a hater, but I didn't like this book. If you are lost in life and you like reading about situationships, also, she's the daughter of immigrants, so maybe some people would relate to that aspect. Obviously, I don't relate to that. But there were some lines in here that really resonated with me. I was like, okay, I like this perspective, but overall, this book did not really leave a positive mark on me. Next book I read, Betty Smith, Tomorrow Will Be Better. I read this because I read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, and I loved that book. Literally loved that book. It's one of my all-time favorite books. I want to reread it pretty soon. So I picked this one up. It's also set in Brooklyn. From Betty Smith comes a poignant story of love, marriage, poverty, and hope set in the Williamsburg and Bushwick sections of Brooklyn. Okay, where I'm about to be living. Maybe. Yeah, this book didn't hit for me the way that A Tree Grows in Brooklyn did. This book felt very, I'll say depressing, honestly. It didn't feel hopeful. It was like, I'm reading this book, I'm reading about this girl's life, and I'm like, oh my god. But this book, I don't know, like, I feel like I was highlighting and underlining so much in A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. The family dynamics I thought were super interesting in A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And I feel like it wasn't as nuanced or complex in this one. It was just kind of like, your life low-key sucks. And this one didn't feel very hopeful. It says it's hopeful, but it didn't feel very hopeful, so I didn't really love that book. Okay, next book. I don't have much to say on this one. I read this also in January. I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say I'm a romance book hater because I love Emily Henry books, and I love Kate Clayborn books, but every other romance book I've read pretty much I have not enjoyed. Something about romance books really just don't resonate with me. But I heard a lot of people suggest this. A lot of people said that this book was so amazing. And it was very good. I did really enjoy this. I've seen some people talk about, I'm not gonna say this book is controversial, but like I guess there's some problematic themes in here and like the way the couple gets together, like okay, whatever. I won't address that part because I frankly don't care that much, but I just thought this was a really sweet book, very tender, and a good romance book. I did enjoy this book while I was reading it, so I would definitely recommend this to anyone who's into romance. Intermezzo. Y'all. Okay, this book was awesome. I really enjoyed this book, and even when I started it in the beginning, wait, I'm not giving you guys plots. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to talk about the plot. Okay, Intermezzo is basically about two brothers. Their father just died. One of them is, I think, in college, and then the older brother is like 30 or something. The younger one's probably in college. And, you know, they don't necessarily get along. They're not like this, okay? They beef. There's tension between them. They have unresolved feelings towards each other. And the book basically goes from one brother in one chapter, and then the next chapter is the other brother's perspective. Dysfunctional families, grief, romantic relationships. This book has it all, guys. This book was amazing. I've read Conversations with Friends and Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I didn't love Conversations with Friends. Thing wasn't sticking with me with that book, but Beautiful World, Where Are You is one of my favorite books ever. I absolutely love that book. And this book is like a very, very close second. Actually, it could pass Beautiful World, Where Are You, but I'm probably going to reread Beautiful World, Where Are You, and then I'll decide. But I absolutely loved Intermezzo. I love books on grief. I think this is a fantastic example of that. And then it's also got romance. Like, as I said, there are romance, there are interesting relationship dynamics. Did everything in this book go the way I wanted it to? No. And I still enjoyed it, so that should tell you how amazing it is. I would highly recommend that book to literally anybody. Okay, next. Betty. Guys, Betty. Betty. This is the best book I've read all year. This is one of the best books I've ever read in my life. Okay, I'll read this back. Born in a bathtub in 1954 to a white mother and a Cherokee father, Betty inhabits a world of poverty and loss, of lush landscapes and blazing stars. Despite the hardships she encounters, Betty is resilient. Okay, I'm not reading all that. This book is about this girl born into this family. She has a lot of siblings. I don't know how many, but like at least 4 or 5. And she encounters a lot of trauma. She inherits a lot of generational trauma. She, you know, kind of takes on some abuse. She witnesses abuse. You know, she's growing up with racism. She's a young girl, dark skin. Obviously, experiences tremendous hardship, also being a woman. So you can imagine, you know, the kind of life she's living. It's 1954. So there was a lot of suffering in this book. Some of it was really hard to read. I'm not gonna lie. But Betty, the character Betty, was just so strong, so resilient, so hopeful. Her father, Landon, was just about the most perfect man ever. Such an amazing father. The relationship between her and her father was so beautiful. The relationship between Landon, the father, and all the children was just so wonderful to read. Like, truly and honestly, I loved this book so much. The writing is so beautiful. It talks a lot about Cherokee culture and, you know, the way that they interact with the world, with the earth. I can't say enough good things about this book. I will read a line from this book and it will make me instantly tear up because it's that good. Like, it evokes those really strong emotions. I just remember the story so vividly. I will reread this book for the rest of my life. It is one of the best books I have literally ever read. Would I recommend this to everybody? No, because I will say it again, there are traumatic things that happen in this book. You know, look up trigger warnings if you need to. So, you know, it can be a little depressing, it can be a little traumatic, but there's still all of that love and hope in this book, and that's what I thought was so wonderful about this book. Absolutely loved it. Then I followed that emotional roller coaster with Of Mice and Men. I never read this in school. I really don't have much to say about it. I thought I would be able to finish it really quickly because it's so short, but I was kind of bored by it, I'm not gonna lie. I was never like wanting to reach for it. Even though I knew I could just finish it so quickly, I was always like, I don't want to read that. And what's shocking is I didn't know what happens at the end of this book. You'd think that by now, like, the presence of this in the culture, like, that I would really know the plot, but I didn't. So the ending made me sad. I will give it that. It did, like, actually make me really sad. You know, not every book can elicit that reaction, so I'll give it that, but I don't really have much to say about this. It was alright. Okay, then after that, I read a quick graphic novel. I don't have it. It was my father's, called Stitches. I also don't have much to say about this. I mean, it took me 30 minutes to read. Also pretty sad. This guy who grows up and something was wrong with him. I can't remember. And his dad was a doctor, and his dad was trying to fix it by giving him like x-rays or radiation, like kind of experimental stuff. You know, years go by, this terrible thing happens to him. He loses his voice. And then later he finds out that that he had cancer. They never told him he had cancer. He finds out that he had cancer, and then he also finds out that his father's the one who gave him cancer because of the radiation. It's a true story. It's autobiographical. That was interesting. A quick read. Not much else to say about it. Then I read Little Weirds. Okay, Little Weirds, Jenny Slate. This is... I don't really know how to describe it. It's very whimsical. It's very abstract. She kind of takes experiences and themes in her life and then writes about them in pretty metaphorical ways, very poetic ways, and like very abstract ways. I had been wanting to read this for so long. I was so excited to read this. I didn't end up loving it, which I thought I would because of the excerpts that I had read from it, pages I had read in passing. It was a little too abstract for me, I must say. There are some parts of this that I really, really loved, and I really admired the writing, and I respect the writing. I just don't know if it's for me. I would be interested in reading another book of hers, because there were parts of this that I really, really loved. I underlined, I think about them a lot, but then a lot of the book I was just kind of like, what are we doing right now? I want to be done with this. Okay, then after that I read X's and O's, a book no one's heard of. I don't even know where I like heard of this book or how I got it recommended to me. Probably somehow on social media or Goodreads, I don't know. But I mean, I'm not gonna waste time on this. It was mid. I didn't really like it that much. It's yet another romance book that's a flop for me. I don't really know why I took a chance on that one, but I was like, could be, I don't know. Then I read Little Fires Everywhere. It was Murphy's book, so I don't have it, but again, not much to say. It was alright. It was a quick, easy read. I'm not really into mysteries like that, so that genre I don't really think is for me. And even the ending, when you kind of like find out, it's like, okay. I feel like mysteries, for some reason, even though it's kind of the whole point, they always seem so like perfect. Like, oh, of course that's the missing link. Like, that just worked out a little too perfectly. I do kind of want to watch the show. I feel like I would have enjoyed the show a little more than if I had read the book. That book was alright, I guess. Then I read Sunrise on the Reaping, read this in a book club with Murphy and Diana. This is Haymitch's prequel book, Haymitch's Games. I enjoyed this book. I mean, it's a Hunger Games book, so there's that level of nostalgia and existing adoration for the series. But like, I'm not gonna say this book was amazing. I'm not gonna say it blew my socks off. I am really excited for this movie. I think I'm going to love this movie. I can't wait to see it on screen. I think these books, like especially with this, because it's a prequel and you know who lives and you know who dies, and it's the game, so you know who wins the games. So it's not necessarily exhilarating to read, but I think it'll be a really, really good movie, and I'm really excited for that. Okay, after that, I read Pure Color. This book was pretty interesting. In this first draft, a woman named Mira leaves home for school. Once there, she meets Annie, whose tremendous power opens Mira's chest like a portal. When Mira is older, her beloved father dies, and she enters the strange and dizzying dimension that true loss opens up. Pure Color tells the story of a life from beginning to end. It is a galaxy of a novel, explosive, celestially bright, huge, and streaked with beauty. It is a contemporary Bible, an atlas of feeling, and a shape-shifting epic. This book, okay, so this book wasn't really, this one is another kind of like, there's no plot, very, very loose plot, if you could call it that. But I did enjoy this, another book on grief. I really liked that. There are a lot of, you know, perspectives and thoughts in here that, you know, you read and you're like, wow, so interesting. And then it kind of makes you see your life a little bit differently. It makes you see other people a little bit differently. So I think about this book pretty often. I enjoyed it. Did I enjoy 100% of it? No. Some of it did lose me. Again, it was very abstract, and I don't know if I was getting jiggy with all of that. But there were really poignant parts in here on the relationship between, you know, child and parent, grief. Yeah, it was interesting. It was good. Very philosophical. Sheila Heti is a philosopher of modern experience. I'll second that. Okay. Then I read Great Big Beautiful Life. We know how I feel about Emily Henry. I love her. I think she flopped with Funny Story, and then I think she did a double flop with this book. It actually does hurt me to say that. This book, for people who don't read Emily Henry, you know, she's a romance author. This one, she was kind of doing something different. She had kind of two storylines going on here. Like, one of them was the romance aspect, and then the other was the main girl, Alice, is, I think, a journalist, or at least a writer. And she's interviewing this very famous woman, Margaret. Well, she was famous, like super, super famous back in the day, but then kind of became a recluse. And the book is just her talking about her life story, getting the scoop. Very Evelyn Hugo, if anyone's read Evelyn Hugo and Her Seven Husbands, whatever the hell the title of that is. Like, very similar to that. Like, a little too similar for my taste, and I didn't really even enjoy Evelyn Hugo, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So, to just kind of do the exact same thing, and then with, like, a half-assed romance on the side. Okay, sorry, I don't want to do my girl Emily like that. I'm not going to call it a half-assed romance, but, like, you can only fit so much story in these pages. And the romance just, I feel, fell pretty flat and was deeply underdeveloped because so much time was taken for the Margaret side of the story, the older woman, which that storyline didn't interest me. You know, if it interests you, you would like this. If that kind of thing is your vibe, you would like it. But I didn't like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I just don't care about it. The genre of, like, oh, what is this famous person's true story? Like, it's not what the media thinks. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not giving grace to rich people. I'm just kidding. I know it's more nuanced than that, but at the end of the day, I don't care, and it's not interesting to me. The romance was just, like, not there, and I feel like the characters had no, like, traits, no personality traits. So that was a disappointment for me, unfortunately. I commend you, Emily, for trying, and, like, write whatever you want to write. But that doesn't mean I have to enjoy it. Okay. Then I read The Long Answer. This book was about this woman who's pregnant. She speaks with her sister who's also pregnant. It's pretty much about her conversations with, like, 3 or 4 different women. Like, each chapter, it's, like, split into, like, 4 parts, I think, the whole book. And maybe 3 or 4. Each one is basically her interactions, experiences, and conversations with other women who have also either gone through pregnancy, like, are going through motherhood, have, you know, had interactions or experiences with the topic. I thought the format was pretty engaging. It was like a bunch of mini stories, but they all did tie together because they were all still, like, talking to the main character. I mean, themes of motherhood, pregnancy, sisterhood, grief, female friendship. I mean, you've got me. That's a winning recipe for me. Like, I'm going to enjoy it. Talk about pregnancy, abortion, miscarriage, infertility. I'm there. I'm hooked. I'm sad, and I am crying. This book made me cry. But I really, really loved this book. This is definitely a book I would reread, and I would recommend it. I thought it was super, super entertaining. Loved reading about the relationships. This is another book that I think about a lot and kind of made me change the way I view some things in the world. I did really enjoy this book. Okay, then I read A Room with a View. I got it from the library, so I don't have a physical copy. read that in a book club, and I really enjoyed it, actually. I was surprised. I'm not generally one that reads a lot of old books like that, you know, classics. But I actually did really enjoy that book. Some of it was very dull, some of it very boring. Sometimes I was like, what's going on in this book? I can't really tell. But in the end, I thought it was actually a very sweet romance, you know, for the time. Did they know each other that well? No. Did anyone know each other that well back then? No. It was sweet. I liked it. I saw the movie. Not to be that girl, but the book was better than the movie. Okay, I need to wrap this up, y'all. I still have 4 more books. The Book of Goose. I don't want to spend too much time on this because this book pissed me off. I read it because I thought it was going to be a beautiful book about female friendship. Such was not the case. I'm actually not going to spend any time on this book. I didn't like it. I thought it was dumb. I was so bored. It was so repetitive. I gained nothing from this book. Yeah, I mean, if you want to know what it's about, look it up. But, like, I'm not wasting time talking about the plot. I just can't. Okay, then I read A Woman Is No Man. 18-year-old Dea, who's growing up in Brooklyn in 2008. And then it flips back and forth between her mother, who's 17, growing up in Palestine. And it kind of, you know, parallels Dea's life to her mother's life growing up. And her mother, in Dea's current timeline, I guess, is not alive. Her mother died when Dea was a little bit younger. This book was really, really depressing and devastating. 1990, they have come from Palestine, so they're immigrants in Brooklyn, and it goes through, you know, like their experience in America, and then how that affects the mother's experience as a woman married to an immigrant in America, and she has no rights, has no freedom, just really not living a great life. It talks about how Dea has to get married. She lives with her grandparents now, and her grandmother is like, you need to get married, we're marrying you off, and Dea is like, I don't want to get married, I want to go to college. You know, the classic story. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty heartbreaking. It's reading about Dea's mother's story is very heartbreaking. And then Dea's story is just very, like, you feel for her, you feel her being trapped. Very unfortunate realities of some women's lives. And I feel like the ending kind of wrapped it up a little too conveniently. I feel like, not that I wanted Dea to suffer, but it just felt like it was a little too easy. Like, she undid all the family trauma in like one conversation. So I was like, okay, I mean, I feel like that would not have gone down that way. I feel like that was a little easy. It felt like it should have taken more to overcome the struggles that she overcame. I'm happy for her, but this book, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was really tough to read. Really tough to read. I feel like the ending, I was like, okay, would that really happen though? It was good. It wasn't the best book I've ever read in my life, but I would be intrigued to read more by this author. Okay, then I read I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I never read this. I'm late to the party, guys, I know. It took me a low-key longer to get through also than I thought. I don't know what I was expecting in this book. I guess I was maybe expecting a little more... I guess I was expecting a little more poetry. I wonder why I was expecting poetry. But I didn't know that it was kind of just straight up gonna be like an autobiography of her growing up. Maybe would have gone into this with a little bit of a different mindset if I had known that. But this book was good, okay? Like, we can all hail Maya Angelou. Like, she is a wonderful writer. I feel like a bad liberal for not, like, being obsessed with this book. I feel like I want to, like, attend a college class talking about this book so that I can maybe get it a little more. Okay, like, I feel like I'm making it sound like I didn't like this book. I genuinely have nothing bad to say about this book. I'm just not going to be a poser and be like, this is the most amazing, beautiful, perfect book I've ever read. Which I'm not hating on people that do that, because this probably is really, really good. Maybe I'm not, like, smart enough to understand why. I don't know, I'll get there one day. Okay, then we come to our final book, which technically, I read 19 new books. I read 20 books in total. One of them was a reread. And that reread was Happy Place. I just finished this last night. Actually, it's my second reread. So I've now read this book 3 times. I love this book. I absolutely adore this book. I think the romance is top tier. The friendship is top tier. It's about a friend group, and then two of them fall in love in the friend group. It is second chance, which y'all, I hate second chance. So like, don't let that scare you. But they do get together and then they break up, and then they're on this trip together and they have to pretend like they're still together because they don't want to tell their friends. So it's like, it's fake dating, it's second chance. And what I love about this book is the female main character has a really, really close bond with all of her friends, primarily two of her best girlfriends, and that part was just so heartwarming to read about. I love reading about female friendship. I think this is an amazing female friendship book, and I keep coming back to it. Obviously, it's so good. I'll reread this book for the rest of my life. And Win is just so cute. He's so precious. I literally love him. And when I first read this book, he wasn't like my favorite. It wasn't my favorite romance out of all of her books. But then once you get to the reason why they broke up, and then you reread it with that perspective and you kind of see where he's been at this whole time, it's like, okay, he's perfect. Like, it just makes it makes the reread that much better, which I feel like was also so like fun about this book is, you know, you have the experience of reading it for the first time, and then once you find out like how it went down, then when you go back and reread it, you can kind of read it with this new perspective of what he's thinking. I love this book. I absolutely love this book. It is not my favorite Emily Henry book. I have to keep the favorite at People We Meet on Vacation. I can't demote that book yet. But this book is so close. Like, I can't even lie. People We Meet on Vacation, watch your back. Okay, everyone, that's it. That's all I've got in me today. I tried to speed through those as quickly as possible, and I still yapped for far longer than I think anyone is willing to sit through, and that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If anyone's read any of these books and has any opinions on them, drop them. If anyone has any book recommendations for me, drop them. Okay, that's it for this video. That's it for the booktube video. This was a good time for me. I hope it was a good time for you. See you next time.